Yeah, what's some of your most popular content? What are you sharing most with your clients, and what's getting the most views?
My most popular episode ever was actually an episode on defense mechanisms. So we all utilize defense mechanisms in our life to protect our own psyche from having to deal with the real world around us. So these could be things like avoidance. They could be things like intellectualization. There's all these different defense mechanisms that people will use in their lives to basically protect themselves. And when you start diving into those, you really start to understand human behavior. And I think people just really appreciated that stuff because it helped them understand why the people around them were acting the way that they were, which sometimes can feel very illogical if you don't understand these underpinnings, these defense mechanisms that we all utilize.
Yeah, share a little bit more on that.
Oh man, there's a lot to unpack there.
Okay.
Uh,
In other news, because of GMOs, monocropping, and soil depletion, Americans are not getting enough nutrients. That's why in 2018, I founded B Micro, the first freeze-dried microgreens company in the US to help Americans get more natural nutrition in their diets. Microgreens are a phase in the plant's life when they're just 14 days old and naturally the most concentrated in vitamins, minerals, and unique antioxidants. Our microgreens are all grown here in the US and certified USDA organic and regenerative organic. We grow, wash, and freeze-dry them to extend their shelf life from 1 week fresh to over 1 year, allowing us to ship anywhere in the US without the worry of spoilage. We have 2 flavors: broccoli, backed by over 2,000 studies on sulforaphane for its powerful detox benefits, and a blend of broccoli, radish, and red cabbage, our most powerful detox formula that we've tested, giving you the most bang for your buck. Easily sneak these into any meal: eggs, pizza, pasta, or even your kids' mac and cheese. We have whole leaf, powder, and capsule options, so you can choose the way that works best for you. Use code PLANT15 to save at bmicro.farm.
yeah, I mean, there's literally, if you go and search defense mechanisms, you will find probably about 10 big ones, but 50, 100 different tactics people use to basically protect themselves.
I
And
think one that maybe I use, and I'd love to hear more different examples, but one that maybe I use is, I heard you say intellectualization.
yeah,
What does that mean? Help me understand that a little bit more.
so when a person feels threatened, and you'll see this a lot, like you might see this with your guests sometime, like you'll ask them a question and they maybe aren't that prepared for it or don't know what to say, they might start going deep into the weeds. Well, that activates this receptor and this does this thing. And they're diving deep using all these scientific terms, all these different things, basically trying to avoid the fact that they really don't know how to answer the question easily and succinctly. And like we do that in our lives, right? Let's say you publish a podcast and let's say you say something that's offensive and a bunch of people get really mad at you. Someone might jump into this really intellectual discussion about why they said what they did, why it makes sense, kind of justifying. And that's basically them using intellectualization to try and protect themselves from backlash from other people.
So is it kind of like an ego thing? Like, I don't want to say that I don't know, so I'm going to try to make you think that I know?
All of the defense mechanisms are people protecting their egos.
Okay.
We literally all do it. We all have this ego inside of us, and we want to protect it from basically anxiety and embarrassment and all these other negative feelings, shame. And so these defense mechanisms come out to deal with that. Another one is what's called histrionic behavior, when people are really emotional and get really loud and vibrant, and they will use that as a way to kind of get out of things. It's definitely an interesting thing to be aware of. And as you start paying attention to people, if they start doing things that you're like, why would they do that? Sometimes looking into different defense mechanisms is a good way to just understand that behavior.